Yes, I'm Alex and thanks for checking out another video. This is going to be the first video in a new series where I'm going to try and create a groove inspired by one of my favourite drummers. So my plan is to take one concept either from a particular track or something that I've noticed they play frequently and see if I can create my own idea using that concept, and I'll take you through the steps that I took to get to the end goal. And my overall aim here is that we end up with a groove that sounds far enough away from the original that it doesn't sound like a direct rip-off, but instead it sounds influenced by that groove. But you can be the judge of that. So the drummer we're going to kick things off with is Richard Spaven, one of my absolute favourite drummers, and the concept we're going to be using is taken from the track Taj, so I'll put a link down in the playlist in the description if you want to go and check that out. The groove to Taj is in 5/4, but Richard Spaven is playing a dotted 8th note pulse all the way through the whole A section. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 5 E and a. And what's super interesting about it is that it keeps going over the bar line. So the first thing I decided to do, firstly to get a bit further away from the original, and secondly just as a bit of an extra challenge, was I decided to change the time signature from 5/4 into 7/4. So for me, I wanted to find out how many bars it would take to resolve. So turns out it takes 3 bars of 7/4 for the bass drum to land back on beat 1. So see if you can hear that. I'm just going to play 8th notes on the hats, dotted 8th notes on the bass drum. So next, I wanted to get my snare involved, so I decided to just put a backbeat on all the even numbers in our bar, but already, with a bar of 7/4 and that dotted 8th note phrase on the bass drum, this starts to sound really interesting and it's fairly hard to keep track of, so let's have a listen to how that sounded. So now it's starting to sound a bit more like a groove, but for me, I felt like it needed some kind of phrasing or some kind of theme to tie it all together. So after a bit of trial and error, what I decided to do was play 2 accents on the snare drum in the last beat of each bar. So in bars 1 and 2, I felt like it sounded good to play an accent on the E and the and of beat 7. 7 E and a. And in bar number 3, for whatever reason, it just didn't sound as cool to play them in that same position. So I felt like it was nice to have a little bit of variation at the end of the overall phrase. So I just pushed them over to the and the of beat 7. 7 E and a. I felt like this gave a clearer distinction between the bars, as well as helping it to sound like one overall phrase, rather than this just constant rolling confusion over the bar line. Let's check it out and hear how it sounds. And finally, if we're going to be inspired by Spaven, we've got to crack some ghost notes in there. So to give it a bit more groove and to fill out the space a little bit, I added in some ghost notes, mostly on the 16th note offbeat, so the E's and the So I've written out a version of the groove, but of course, improvise with it and do your thing. So we started out with one concept taken from the playing of Richard Spaven Taj, but I would argue that now our groove is far enough away that we're not just ripping off the original and we've created something of our own. Now of course this is something you could do with any idea, just keep pushing it until you've got something that you like the sound of that doesn't sound like the original. And then as always, I would fully recommend using whatever you've come up with as a springboard to jump off of into improvisation. So what I'm going to do is I'll play a few bars, starting out with the original groove and then just expanding, messing around, changing textures, seeing what I can come up with. I've also written a little backing track to play along to, just to give it a bit more musical context. I'm going to start to upload these onto a Bandcamp page that I'll put in the video description, and you can download these for a price of your choice if you'd like to use them as an extra practice tool. Yes, mate. Okay, so today was the first lesson in this series, so let me know down in the comments what other drummers would you like me to focus on, and I'll see what I can do. If you do go and learn any of the grooves that we looked at today, or you go and create your own grooves using the concepts, I would love to see it, mate. You can tag me up at @DrumHubTuition, and if you're digging the videos, hit the button to join the Wednesday crew, man. I'll catch you in the next lesson.